Alright, so we're going to do some warm-up exercises. These are things I still do on my own time just to warm up before I start a sketch. And these are little exercises you could try out as well. And most of these will train you to how to draw free-handed without the aid of a ruler, especially straight lines and ellipses. So the first thing I'm going to start here is just get a piece of paper, right? I'm going to practice on how to draw straight lines. And before we get started, let me explain a little bit how we set this up. Normally, when you draw, you do move the wrist quite a bit like this, right? But the way we do our lines is we're not going to move our wrist at all. We're going to pivot on the elbows. If I put my elbow here, you can see I can actually pivot my elbow quite a bit like this. So what you're doing is you're training yourself to actually make straight lines by pivoting your elbow at this point right here. Right? Instead of using your wrist to draw a straight line like that, right? We're going to draw a straight line like this. Right? But the thing is, just by drawing straight lines by going like this, you're actually not learning that much. What you want to do is train your brain to see what your hand is doing and coordinate those two things together. So the way we train that is, let me zoom in just a bit, is by connecting dots, right? Because that physically trains your eye to see objects and then train your hand to connect those objects instead of drawing blank. So we're going to put two dots here, right? And since you just started, let me use a thicker pen here. This one's not going to show up that well. One dot, another dot. And if you just started this exercise, keep your dots pretty close together so you can hit these. Right, let me zoom in just a little bit more. And now I'm going to try to connect these dots, right? If I go across, instead of just doing the first time, I'm actually going to ghost a little bit. What I mean by that is I'm just going to feel it out to see if it actually connects. And when I feel like it's going to connect, I just drop my pen and let's see if you can make a straight line. Right, just like that. So let's try that again. Two dots. We're going to draw across, ghost, ghost. When you feel confident, drop it, right? You have another line. And these should be pretty straight. And if I zoom out, you notice my wrist is not moving, but my entire arm is. So if I put two dots, right? Ghosting, ghosting. See, my wrist is never turning. Ghost, ghost, ghost. Drop the line, right? And don't worry if the line goes across the dot. You're not training it to stop here. Just make sure you get the line straight. Right? And as you get more confident, you can put your dots further apart like that. Right, zoom in. See if you can hit that. So we're going to ghost, feel correct, and connect that dot. Right? Could do another one here. Right. Whoop, that one you missed, but don't go back and correct it. Just do another one. Right? And that's why these are little warm-ups you could do. Right? Just like that. Hit that one. And we just keep going. Right? And you get more confident in that. Then you can make your dots even further apart. But the thing is, notice I turn my paper when I make these lines. The reason being is I cannot hit a dot by swinging my elbow like this because it's too close to my body. I have to have my elbow out pretty far. Right? Let me show what I mean. Right? Here, to hit that line, I gotta swing this way. Right? But here I have my elbow pretty far from my body so I can swing. But the thing is, I can't now swing this way, so I have to turn my paper to hit that arc. Right? So everyone has a different angle on how to hit these lines. So from mine, it's about an angle like this. So if you can see if you can hit these far ones. Yeah, that's okay. Try another one. Yeah. Alright, so the next part of this exercise, we're going to use what we just did, drawing these little lines, right? So I think the only one that's off is pretty much this one. So it's not too bad. We're going to use this drawing technique and draw a couple of cubes on your page, right? And drawing cubes, you need to know how to draw straight lines. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit. Right, drawing cubes, and we're doing these free-handed. Because for the previous exercise, you're trying to learn how to draw straight lines without the aid of a ruler. Alright, so here's one. Zoom in a little bit. Let's draw another one. Notice I make these little dots, right? Because that's what we just learned, connecting dots. So instead of me just trying to draw a straight line, I'm going to try to connect that dot to that dot. See that? By ghosting. And then drop the line. Same with here. By ghosting, drop the line. Right? ghost, ghost, drop the line. Like so. So we have another one. Let's do a couple more. So you can fit some over here. Alright, 2 dots. Let's connect them. Right. Same here. 2 dots. Ghost, ghost, draw. Ghost, ghost, draw. Right. Connect these 2 points together. That point to that point. Ghost it. Drop the line. Let's go down here for our verticals. Right, so this takes quite a bit of practice to do, but all you do is keep trying to do this and you get this stage pretty quickly. And all these exercises all tie together. Let's just do one more in this corner up here. That to that, connect the dots, boom. Put in our verticals, boom, 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 like that, and like that. Okay, we've got 4 cubes here. It feels like I think that's good enough. Alright, so we practice drawing lines, drawing cubes. The next exercise is let's practice more drawing lines, except this is actually going to be more useful because we're going to try to find centers of these cubes. So to find center, we have to connect the opposite corners. So by drawing a line across here, we find the center of this object, right? So once again, connecting dots come into play, because to do that, we have to know how to draw a straight line from here to here, free-handed. So again, 2 dots, ghost, connect them. And you want to be accurate as possible. If you're off, then your center is going to be off. 2 dots, ghosting, connect them, right? So that's pretty dead on. So that's your center. Let's do it to all the sides. Okay. One there. Right there. Okay, let's do it to this shape here. That corner is over here. It's being blocked a little bit by the cube, but I could kind of feel it where it's at. Right there. Right there. So if you do the connecting dot exercise a lot, this shouldn't be too much of a problem, and it will really help you draw straight lines nice and accurate. So that dot's in there somewhere, so I'm gonna ghost it. Right, just like that. 2 more to go. Got this corner to that corner. This to that. So once you get used to it, you should be able to hit these corners pretty nicely. That one's too compressed. I'm not going to leave that one alone for now. Maybe I'll go back and do it. 2 dots, connect. So far so good. Haven't missed one yet. Okay. Good. Okay, last one. Okay, good. We'll do this one as well, right? It's that corner to that corner, but this is going to be pretty compressed here. That corner to this corner. Okay. So now what we did is we found the center for all these little cubes, right? And what's the purpose of that? Because that moves on to the hardest thing to draw, which are ellipses. And what ellipses are is a circle in perspective. So if you have a square plane, let me go on right here. Okay. See if I could draw this accurately as I can. I'll use a little ruler to measure, make sure it's correct. Sure I'm drawing this correctly. 2 inches. Okay. If you have a perfect square, you find its center. Right. A circle fits perfectly in this square, right? So what these are is it's squares in perspective, meaning a circle fits in all these little surfaces. But instead of being a perfect circle, they're ellipses. So Now we have all this set up, we know where center is. You can practice drawing ellipses inside these boxes, right? And to do this, we're going to use the same exercise we did here, which is swinging your elbow. So I'm going to do a couple outside here, right? I'm going to swing elbow instead of your wrist. Instead of doing an ellipse like that with your wrist, we're going to do it like this, kind of like that. Let me zoom in now. You see, right? Let's do another one. Right, nice and smooth. Feel the ellipse out. Let's draw a thin one. Right, let's do a fat one. Right, let's do another thin one. Some smaller ones. Right. Now, if you mess up your ellipse, right? For example, let me do one. Let's just use this one for example. Right, not that perfect. Instead of going and trying to correct it, just leave it. Right, it's better to have a clean ellipse than to have something where you try to correct it so many times, because the more you do it, right, the more imperfection is going to show up. So even this one, which is not super perfect, is a lot cleaner, especially if you have other things next to it that are correct. So if these are all cylinders, right, and the rest of these look okay, that one just blends in nice and with the rest of them, right? So it all looks okay. So that's how you do ellipses. One thing to avoid with the ellipses, right, is doing it this way. For example, if you're doing a cylinder, you draw two lines and you draw it like this, and then you draw it like that. Okay, that's something you should really avoid, because if you zoom into this corner here, that's actually a physical corner. It looks like that. Okay, ellipses never have a sharp corner. It's always round, no matter how thin it gets. Right, this corner, if you zoom in, is always a round curve, not a sharp corner. So this is what they commonly call a football ellipse, right? Because it looks squashed. This cylinder does not look like it's round, but rather a tube of paper that got squashed in. So for something thin like this, if you have side of a cylinder and you want to make that into round, do it like this. Okay, so that way, even if you're off slightly, it looks round versus squashed. So let's go back to our cubes here to practice that. So you want to freehand draw in your ellipses. Okay, so if they're off a little bit, don't worry. What you're trying to train yourself is to see these cubes and squares in perspective and how to match that perspective with the ellipse. So for this one, right, the top one, like that. Let's do this one. Let's just continue on. So these are exercises I did while I was in school, and it's very helpful, especially for drawing industrial design things, which requires a lot of these shapes, straight lines and ellipses, right? This one. This one. That one's very thin, but see if we could fit it in there. Right? Something like that. Let's put one over here. Right? So I'm letting my hand flow quite a bit. If you miss a little bit, it's okay, right? Gotta flow a little bit. So let's do the last one here. Right? Like that. So here you go. So that's what we should end up with. A nice little exercise that you could do. Straight line to boxes, finding center, and then finally ellipses. So that concludes our little warm-up exercise. And you could take all this into the next step, which is to draw our drawings with. Alright, that's it.